Hello everybody, in this particular video lecture we will explore the effects of compensating winding which is placed in a DC machine. Actually compensating winding in a DC machine is not a regular feature, rather it is a special feature. By special feature I mean that this compensating winding in DC machine is not a common feature of DC machine, rather you will find that compensating winding in DC machine in particular, compensating winding in DC machine is only used for those DC machines which will be used in industry application which require severe duty cycles, as for example steel rolling mills. What happens in those cases? In steel rolling mills you will find that the torque requirement suddenly goes to a very high value, because in a steel mill what happens, the lump of steel which is known as billet is actually compressed between two rollers which are cylindrical in nature. So these rollers are driven by a DC motor. So what happens, the moment a lump of steel is coming in between two rotating rollers, it requires a very high torque in order to compress the lump of steel and flatten it. So at that time torque requirement goes up to a very high value. Now in case of DC motor, if torque requirement goes up to a very high value, then that can be met up by drawing very large armature current. But again, very large armature current implies that very strong armature reaction effects. So what can be seen is that due to very large armature current, the armature reaction effect becomes very stronger and predominant. So in that scenario, there is a huge distortion of the field flux density waveform, and due to this huge distortion you will find that at some pole tip it is increased to a very high value, and at some pole tip it is decreased to a very low value. So what happens, the armature coils which are under the influence of those flux density which are attaining a very high value, they are going to have very large value of induced EMF, and that can create problem in commutation, because between any two consecutive commutator segment usually the voltage should not exceed between 30 to 40 volts. So in that case what happens, that huge distortion of the field flux waveform has to be taken care of, and that is taken care of by use of compensating winding. One can always argue or say that we have used interpoles in DC machine. Now interpoles in DC machine, they are effective only along the interpolar axis, or the what should I say, they are only effective in the commutation zone. This particular zone is known as commutation zone. That means the area where the coil is undergoing commutation. As for example, in this particular diagram, commutation zone can be called to be this one. This thing can be qualified as commutation zone. I am showing it by green dotted line. So this particular zone can be qualified as to be named as commutation zone. This one, this particular zone, from this point to this point, this particular zone can be called to be commutation zone. So interpoles are effective only along the commutation zones. So that means what, the armature MMF effect is going to be cancelled only along the interpolar region by the interpoles. These interpoles are sometimes also known as compoles or commutating poles. So this thing has to be very clearly kept in mind, that the use of interpoles in a DC machine, what happens if you use interpoles in a DC machine, obviously interpoles will cancel the armature MMF, but this cancelling effect of interpole MMF, I mean to say that interpole MMF is going to cancel the armature MMF. This thing is going to take place only in this particular zone, which is shown by these two parallel green lines, only in this particular zone, which is known as commutation zone. But outside this commutation zone, the effect of interpole MMF is not there. So interpole MMF effect or the effect of this interpole is going to be present only along the commutation zone, that means this zone. The effect of interpoles won't be there outside the commutation zone. This is your commutation zone. These two green dotted lines which I have indicated here, this is the commutation zone. So interpole MMF is effective only under this area, that is the commutation zone. But outside this commutation zone, interpole effect is not there. So what has to be done? We need to ensure that the armature MMF is neutralized, or the armature MMF is cancelled besides the commutation zone, or the besides the interpolar region. That means we definitely need to cancel. We definitely need to cancel the armature MMF along the interpolar region, so that the commutation is good. But besides that, we need to also cancel the armature MMF under the pole faces. So this particular thing, you can see this green dotted line is representing the length of the pole arc, and this thing is known as pole face. So in the pole face area also, the armature MMF needs to get cancelled or neutralized. Then what will happen? If you are able to cancel the armature MMF under the pole faces, then that will lead to a better distribution of magnetic flux density along the air gap periphery. By better distribution of magnetic flux density in the air gap, we mean that there won't be any non-uniform distribution, or there won't be any distortion. So in order to make sure that there is no distortion or non-uniform distribution, we should also employ compensating winding, and the function of the compensating winding is to cancel or neutralize the armature MMF. However, one point has to be kept in mind, that is, the compensating windings are going to cancel or neutralize the armature MMF only under the pole faces, not elsewhere. That means what? If you look at this developed view, so this is the north pole face, and this is half portion of the south pole face. This is another half portion of the south pole. So this is half portion of south pole, this is half portion of south pole, and this is one entire north pole face. So what we see, that the compensating windings are going to be effective in cancelling the armature MMF only under the pole faces. Or rather, we can put it in a different way. We can place it in a different way, is that the armature MMF under the pole faces are cancelled by the compensating winding. The armature MMF under the pole faces are cancelled by the compensating winding. Now, where we actually, you can look at the diagram, and you can try to figure out for yourself, is that these compensating windings or the compensating conductors, they are placed along the pole faces or the pole shoe. So what has to be done? A slot has to be created. A slot has to be created along the pole faces. So this thing can be done only at the manufacturing stage. That means when the DC machine is being manufactured, at that time only we need to have this special kind of field pole lamination, which will be placed one over another, such that a slot is created along the pole faces or the pole shoe. So in that way, you can say that a DC machine which is having compensating winding is definitely going to be costly, because of this special construction which is needed for the field poles. Because if you think of the field pole lamination, the normal lamination we have seen for field pole was like this only. This slot portion was not there. But in case you want to house, if you want to house the compensating winding, in that case you have to create this kind of field pole lamination and you have to place it one over another. You can look at the diagram. If I am going to place this kind of field pole lamination one over another, in that case field pole will be created, and besides that there will be slots which will be formed in the pole faces or the pole shoe. So there in that slot you can accommodate or you can house the compensating winding. Now in this particular diagram, if you observe, I have drawn the developed view of a two-pole DC machine. So this developed view of two-pole DC machine is taken after we have taken the cross-sectional view. Actually, what needs to be done? You can skip it or you can use it also. It's up to you. Is that first you draw the cross-sectional view of a two-pole DC machine. So once you are drawing the cross-sectional view of a two-pole DC machine, assume that the cross-section is being taken along a plane. The plane is normal or perpendicular to the shaft of the DC machine. So I am imagining that the DC machine is being cut by a plane, the plane being normal or perpendicular to the shaft. So that view will be our cross-sectional view, and you need to then imagine that that cross-sectional view is being cut out and it is laid out flat like this. So that will be our developed view. So in order to make the things even more presentable, what I have drawn is that this is the developed view of the two-pole DC machine, and I was unable to draw the complete north pole and south pole and interpoles over here. So I am only indicating a portion which will be sufficient for our purpose. You see here I have indicated south pole here. Obviously north pole should have been drawn over here 180 degree from here, as the number of poles is 2. So south pole is here, north pole is not shown here, but north pole should have been shown here, and this is our interpolar axis, that is the brush or the interpolar axis is being placed along this line. So here I should have indicated the interpoles, one on this side, another interpole on this side, which is not indicated. So please bear with this. You just focus on this, that this south pole is indicated here, the armature core is indicated, the brushes are indicated. What is missing? The north pole, which should be 180 degree away from the south pole center, that is north pole should have been here, and one interpole along the interpolar axis should be shown here, another interpole along the interpole axis, another interpole along this interpolar axis should have been shown here. So these are not indicated. However, this diagram will suffice. Actually the purpose or the need for drawing this diagram as well, besides this developed view, is that I just wanted to make a point, is that when you are going to take the developed view of the two-pole DC machine, from where you should cut it and lay it flat, from which point of the DC machine. So if you have gone by my earlier video lectures, then you might have seen that at some point of time I am taking the developed view by cutting it along the interpolar axis. Sometimes I am taking the developed view by cutting it along the field axis or the polar axis. So why it is like that? That sometimes the developed view is taken by cutting it, or rather you can say the developed view is taken starting from the interpolar axis. In some other case, the developed view is taken taking the starting point to be the pole center or the polar axis or the field axis. What is the reason for this what is the reason behind this varied kind of approach? That means in some approach the developed view is started from the interpolar axis. In another case, the developed view is started from the pole center or the polar axis or the field axis. Actually, the reason is only one and one. And what is that reason? I will be taking the developed view starting point. That means the starting point or the start of the developed view should be from that point where no lines of flux are entering or leaving. You see, for this, for example, you look at this particular south pole. Under the south pole, compensating windings are shown to carry cross current. On the other hand, the armature conductors are shown to carry dot current. So how come we actually put that the armature core will be the armature conductors will be having dot current and compensating winding will have the cross current. Actually, the thing is that what is done is that we are actually assuming here generating action. Okay, so what we are assuming here, we are assuming here generating action, and this is our direction of motion. So this thing is our direction of motion, this is the direction of motion, and we are assuming generating action. So by assuming this generating action and this to be the direction of motion, you will be able to figure out that the armature conductors named as 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 will have dot polarity, and the compensating winding conductors which are embedded or which are placed in the slot which is cut on the pole face will have cross current. If you let us just quickly review whether it will be dot or not. Since we have taken generating action, so we have to use Fleming's right hand rule. For south pole, lines of flux should enter the pole face, so right hand index finger should point towards the pole face. The direction of motion is from left to right, that means over here the direction of motion is taken to be clockwise. Okay, so this is the direction of motion. Let me indicate it here. This is the direction of motion, this is the direction of motion. Okay, so the direction of motion is clockwise, the direction of motion is clockwise. So if direction of motion is clockwise, so for this conductor, let's say conductor number 3 or 4, the tangential velocity will be from left to right. So thumb will point from left to right and index finger will point towards the south pole face. So you see the middle finger is coming out of the board. So that's why the conductor 4, 3 are indicated dot polarity of induced EMF. So conductor number 3 and 4 which are in the armature core are indicated dot polarity of induced EMF. Conductor number 3 and 4 which are placed in the armature core are indicated induced EMF polarity to be dot. This is coming in accordance with Fleming's right hand rule. This is the thing. The armature core is rotating in clockwise direction. The armature core is rotating in clockwise direction. So conductor number 3 and 4 will experience a tangential force in this direction. So thumb is in this direction. For south pole, lines of flux should enter the pole face. So the index finger of the right hand is pointing towards the south pole. So you see here the middle finger is coming out of the board. So this is dot. Now once you are able to find that the induced EMF polarity for conductor 4 and 3 is dot. So obviously for conductor number 6, 5 and conductor number 2, 1 will be also dot, because all of them are under the influence of south pole. Now if conductors under south pole are having dot, then conductors on the north pole will obviously have cross. Although I have said in the beginning, again I am saying, here I have indicated a south pole, there will be a north pole over here which is not indicated. So if you imagine there is a north pole here, or rather there is a north pole here which is not shown actually, but there is a north pole here and this is the direction of rotation. So you will apply again Fleming's right hand rule, you will find that EMF induced in these conductors is cross. Or you can simply use that logic that if EMF induced under south pole is dot, then EMF induced under north pole will be cross. Now as far as this diagram is concerned, you will notice that I have not indicated the slot and tooth portion in the armature core. That is just for your simplicity. In no way I am trying to imply that there won't be any slot and teeth. Actually there will be slot and teeth over there which I have not indicated. You see there I should have indicated a slot and teeth. I should have indicated a slot and teeth like this. I should have indicated a slot and teeth, but it is not indicated just for simplicity. So the armature slot and teeth are not indicated in this diagram as well as in the developed diagram. So this is done for simplicity and ease of drawing, but actually there is a slot and teeth in the armature core. So this part is the armature core, that is the developed view of this. This is the armature core. So this is the developed view, that is we are assuming that the armature core is being cut out and laid out flat. So this is my armature core. At least you should remember that this is the developed view of the armature core. However, while drawing the armature slot and teeth, armature slot and teeth are not indicated, rather they are neglected while drawing the developed view, as well as the armature slot and teeth is neglected here also. Now, what about this compensating winding which is placed in the slots, and these slots are cut out in the pole faces? Is that these compensating windings should carry a current which will be opposite to the current which is carried by the armature conductors beneath them. So you see, if you take up this compensating winding conductors, 1 2 3 4, so there are 4 slots indicated in the pole face of the south pole. So this south pole is having 4 number of slots, and these 4 number of slots are being cut out along the south pole face, and they are accommodating the compensating winding conductors. So these compensating winding conductors will carry a current whose polarity will be opposite to the current which is carried by the armature conductors under this south pole face. So you see, under the south pole face, what is the polarity of armature conductors? Dot. So that's why these compensating windings which are placed in the south pole face will have cross current in them. So whenever the compensating windings are placed and the current is allowed to pass through them, we always keep the direction of compensating winding, or the sense of placing the compensating winding is made in such a way that the current through the compensating winding will flow in a direction which will be opposite to the current which is being carried by the armature conductors under the influence of that compensating winding. So as far as this diagram is concerned, in this diagram, conductor number 5 4 3 2, conductor number 5 4 3 2, they are under the influence of this compensating winding which is placed in the south pole face. So obviously the current carried by this compensating winding which is placed in the south pole face will have a polarity which is opposite to the polarity of current carried by the armature conductors under the influence of this south pole, or under the influence of this compensating winding conductor. So if this is cross, it is dot. Now, what is the reason for drawing this diagram separately once I have drawn the developed view? The thing is that I wanted to indicate, or rather I want to demonstrate that for taking the developed view, we should start from the pole center. That means this developed view has started from the pole center. And what is the pole center? This is the pole center. So this is the pole center. So what has been done? It is assumed that the armature core as well as the field poles, these are cut along this line. This line is nothing but the center line of the pole face, or you can say this is the pole center. So this line is nothing but it is the center line of the pole face, or it is the pole center. So we will take the developed view starting from the pole center. So you see, the developed view is starting from the pole center there. It is starting from the center of the south pole. So this is the center of the south pole. Then after south pole, what will come? North pole, which is not indicated here. So north pole is coming. Then again half portion of the south pole, that is here. So this is half portion of the south pole, or you can say half of the pole face of south pole, and this is half of the pole face of south pole. So we are taking the developed view starting from the pole center, or you can say that it is passing through the center line of the pole or the polar axis. So that is being done here. Now the dot and cross for the armature conductors has been already explained. By applying Fleming's right hand rule, you can find the dot and cross for the armature conductors. Regarding the cross and dot carried by the compensating winding conductors, can be deduced from the logic that the compensating winding will carry a current which will have a polarity which is opposite to the polarity of current carried by the armature conductors under its direct influence. So for these two particular compensating winding conductors, what are the armature conductors under direct influence? For these two compensating conductors, let me name it so we are able to communicate it better. you may call this to be your slot. This is your conductor number, let's say B. This is conductor number B of compensating winding, and this is, let's say, A. Okay, so A and B. So this A and B of the compensating winding conductor are under the direct influence, or rather I should say that conductor number 3 and 2 placed in the armature core, or rather conductor placed in slot number 3 and 2 of armature core, conductor placed in slot number 3 and 2 of armature core is under the direct influence of compensating winding conductors placed in slot A and B. So obviously what happened, if the armature conductor is carrying dot current, the compensating winding should carry opposite of this, that means cross current. Why we actually make it ensure that the current carried by the compensating winding will be opposite to the current carried by the armature conductors under its direct influence? We make it ensure because we want that the net MMF under the pole faces due to the armature current as well as the compensating winding current should cancel each other, that means they should become zero, and in that event what you can expect, that the armature MMF under the pole faces has been neutralized or cancelled by the compensating winding MMF. You can have a look here in this diagram. You can have a look here in this diagram. This green line are the magnetic lines of flux corresponding to the current carried by the compensating winding conductors, that is cross. You can see the compensating winding conductors are carrying cross current. Cross means what? Current is entering into the board. So let's say this compensating winding conductor is carrying a current which is entering into the board. Now I am grabbing this conductor with my right hand and thumb should point towards the board because current is entering into the board. Now you curl these four fingers, so you see you will find the lines of flux corresponding to this compensating winding current. Now of course you have to use your right hand. While I am explaining or saying this, that you have to place your right hand thumb towards the board because the conductor is carrying current cross means current is entering into the board, current is entering into the board, and this forefinger has to be curled. So these things has to be carried out with your right hand so as to arrive at the correct direction of magnetic lines of flux, like this one. Now or it is written here also, flux due to compensating winding current only, this green one. Now what about this red one? This red one is also indicating that this is the magnetic lines of flux due to armature current only. So this red one is due to armature current only. So we may write this to be your phi A. Phi A is a standard notation for indicating the armature flux. So this can be written as phi A. So this is your phi A. So this is armature flux. You can again use that right hand rule. Current dot means it is leaving the board. So you grab the conductor with your right hand, thumb is leaving the board. Now curl these four fingers of the right hand, you will find that it is in agreement with that. So now what I want you to observe is that, please observe very closely, that as far as the lines of flux are concerned, the direction of lines of flux for this compensating winding current and the direction of lines of flux for this armature winding current, they are in opposite direction. Compensating winding current is creating a flux which is directed in this direction from left to right inside the pole face. But if this armature flux were to enter the pole face, then they will be directed from right to left. So you see the compensating winding flux or the flux due to compensating winding current and flux due to armature current, they are going to cancel each other if they are entering into the pole face or inside the pole of this DC machine, that is the south pole in this particular case. So if they are entering the south pole, they will cancel each other. However, if you think along the air gap, in that case they are in the same direction. Okay, this can be seen over here. I will explain it. Now what I want to say is that as I was saying you that we should start taking the developed view, or rather we should take the starting point. We should take the starting point of developed view from that particular point where no lines of flux are entering or leaving. So you see here, this particular pole face of south pole, this happens to be the center line or the center of the pole face. So through the center of the pole phase, neither the compensating winding flux is leaving or entering, nor is the, you see, armature flux is either leaving or entering the armature core. So in both the counts you can compare it and see it or observe it. What I want to say is that as far as the pole center is concerned, in this case the pole center or the center of the pole, you will find that no lines of flux due to compensating winding current is either entering or leaving the pole center. You see, this is the pole center, no lines of flux are leaving or entering due to the compensating winding current. Likewise, in the armature core also, you notice in the armature core, this is my armature core. So in this armature core also you will find that between the slot portion, slot number 4 and 3, between the armature core portion which is lying between slot number 3 and 4, you see no armature flux is entering or leaving. So you can look at the diagram and see for yourself that the armature core portion which is lying between slot number 3 and 4, they are devoid of any lines of flux due to armature current either leaving or entering. You see, this particular point, this particular region between slot number 3 and 4, no lines of flux are entering or leaving. So that's why we have taken the developed view, or rather we have taken the starting of the developed view from this pole center and this armature core which is lying between slot number 3 and 4. So that's why it is started from slot number 3 and 4, it is started. So that's the thing. Now this dot cross is according to Fleming's right hand rule. We have assumed this machine to be working as a generator. Now what about the interpole polarity? You see, this is in tune with what we have deduced earlier, that in case of generating action, the polarity of the interpole is same as that of the main pole ahead of it in the direction of motion. So what is our direction of motion? Our direction of motion is from left to right. So if you are moving in the direction of motion, what is the main pole ahead of this interpole? North pole. So it should be north pole. Again you move in the direction of motion, that is from left to right. What is the main pole? What is the main pole ahead of this interpole? This one. So what is this? South. So this will be south pole. Okay. So now this cross and dot is in accordance with this north pole. North means what? The lines of flux should leave this pole phase. So dot means what? Leaving the board. Cross means entering. So you see thumb is leaving the north pole phase. So lines of flux is leaving. Same way you can verify it for south pole. Cross means it is entering. So thumb is pointing towards the pole phase. Okay. Now let us come to this two waveform, which is very important. What is actually been drawn here? We have actually drawn the nature of space variation of magnetomotive force due to compensating winding current and your due to armature winding current. So this was already discussed. So let me start with this one. That what is the nature of MMF variation along the air gap periphery or with respect to space angle theta. So for that purpose we have actually drawn, what you can look at here is that dotted line is being drawn from the center of the slot. Like the slot number 3, the center of the slot number 3, you see there is a dotted line. Center again center of slot number 2. Slot number 2, from the center of slot number 2 a dotted line is drawn. From the center of slot number 1 dotted line is drawn. So we have drawn dotted line from the center of the slot like this. You can see dotted line is being drawn from the center of the slot. Now why we have drawn dotted line from the center of the slot? We have drawn the dotted line from the center of the slot so as to ensure that we go on applying Ampere's circuital law for each of the conductors, or rather for each of the closed path, and we show the increase in MMF at the middle of the slot by a step jump. If you recall my earlier lecture regarding the slot MMF variation, or rather the MMF variation for a slot pitch, there you would have found that the MMF variation for a slot pitch is shown by a step jump, and that step jump is shown at the middle of the slot. What I am saying, that the MMF variation over a slot pitch is indicated by a step jump, and that step jump is being shown at the middle of the slot. So this is the slot portion. So let us first only focus on the compensating winding conductors. Thereafter we will focus on the armature conductors. So please do you remember this. This is very crucial, that we will first focus only on the compensating winding conductors which are placed in the slot, and the slot portion are being cut out in the pole faces. So for this conductor, let us zoom it here at this point. Let us zoom it here. So you see, for this conductor A, if I choose a closed path like this, so how much current is enclosed by the conductor? Let's say Z into Ia. What is Ia? Actually, you will find that the compensating winding and the armature winding, they are connected in series, so as to make sure that even if there is a change in armature current due to the change in the loading on the machine, the MMF of the armature and compensating winding, they are adjusted on their own, so as to make sure that the MMF under the pole faces are getting cancelled by the MMF due to the compensating winding current. So what I am saying is that the compensating winding conductors, they carry armature current only, that is Ia, and that is due to the fact that the armature winding or the terminals which are coming out from the brushes, the terminals which are coming out from the brush, that is the armature current terminals, they are connected in series with the compensating winding. So compensating winding, they carry armature current Ia. So why they are connected in series? They are connected in series so as to take care of the fact that if due to loading on the DC machine, the armature current changes, because if the loading changes, the armature current will change, and if the armature current is changing, then armature MMF under the pole faces or the armature MMF under the pole arc, that will also change, because armature current has changed due to the change in loading. So accordingly, the MMF of the compensating winding or MMF due to the compensating winding conductor, they should also change, so as to ensure that the compensating winding conductor's MMF is cancelling the armature conductor MMF under the pole faces. So in order to make that each and every time there is a change in load, there is a change in armature current, but in spite of that change in loading and change in armature current, the compensating winding conductors, they should be able to cancel the MMF due to armature winding conductors. So that is ensured by making sure that the compensating winding carries the same current which is being carried by the armature conductors. So what is done? They are connected in series. So the brush terminals are again connected with the compensating winding conductors. So each of the compensating winding conductors, they actually carry armature current Ia. However, each conductor of the armature, they carry current Ia by A. So that is a point which we should not forget, is that the armature conductors, they actually carry current. The armature conductors, they actually carry current Ia by A. That is current carried by each conductor or current carried in each parallel path of a armature of DC machine is given by Ia by A. However, the current carried by the compensating winding conductors is Ia only, because the terminals which are coming out from the brush, they are connected in series with the compensating winding. Now let us zoom it over here. So what can be done? You see this conductor, let's say it is having number of conductors as, let's say what should I say, let's say n. So if it is number of conductors is n here, then it is carrying current Ia, because the compensating winding and the armature winding, they are connected in series. So the MMF in this closed path, you can look at this path. Along this path, what is the current enclosed? N into Ia. N into Ia is the current enclosed. So MMF acting will be N into Ia. Okay. So this is the MMF acting N into Ia. N into Ia. So this change in MMF, you see, it is shown at the middle of the slot by a step jump. This change in MMF is indicated at the middle of the slot by a step jump. Actually, the variation should be linear, but it has been indicated by a step jump at the center of the slot. Now you choose this path. let me name it. If you name it, let's say this is your path number say 2 and this was your path number 1. So in path number 1 the current enclosed was N into Ia. In path number 2 what is the current enclosed in this path? You just follow this marker pen. What is the current enclosed in this path? Current enclosed in this part, it is enclosing two number of compensating winding conductors. So it will be 2N into Ia, because current carried with the compensating winding is Ia. So it is 2 into N. So again there will be a step jump, and that step jump will be indicated by what? A line which is like a step jump, but this step jump is indicated at the center or the middle of the slot. This step jump is indicated at the center or middle of the slot. That is the thing which we should remember. Okay, that the step jump is indicated where? The step jump is indicated at the middle of the slot. Okay, so we are indicating step jump at the middle of the slot here. Now if you choose a path like this, if you choose a path, these two conductors and this, so along this path only you see what is happening. Let me use some another color so that you will to understand. Let us choose this path. So in this particular path, what is the current enclosed? In this particular path, let me name it path number 3. So in this particular path, path number 3, what is the total current enclosed? Again same 2N into Ia, because only two number of compensating winding conductors are here. So it will be 2N into Ia. Again if you choose another path like this one, path number 4, in this case also the current enclosed is same, 2 number of compensating winding conductors, so 2N into Ia. Now what will happen if you choose another path like this? Let me indicate it. If I let me erase it, then I will indicate so that it is not that much clumsy. Okay, so now you choose another path like this one. So in this particular path, what do you see? Let us say this is our path number 5. Okay, so in this particular path you see there are 3 number of compensating winding conductors. So out of these 3 compensating winding conductors, 2 are carrying cross current and 1 is carrying dot current. So let us assume that cross current is positive, or rather we have assumed here only that cross current is positive. That's why it was going above this axis. Had it been negative, it would have gone below the axis. So we have already assumed that cross current is positive. So in this particular path named as path number 5, what you will find that there are 2 cross current and 1 dot current. So if cross current is positive, then dot current is negative. So what is the net current? It is N into Ia. So there will be a drop in MMF, where along it again it will be taking place at the middle of the slot. So again the drop is taking place at the middle of the slot. So again this thing is your N into Ia. So this thing is again N into Ia. This thing is N into Ia. Okay. Now again if you choose another path such that these 2 conductors and these 2 conductors are enclosed. If you choose a path such that these 2 and these 2 conductors are enclosed, then that will lead to a situation where you will have 4 conductors, but out of these 4 conductors, 2 conductors will carry cross current and 2 conductors will carry dot current, indicating that the net current enclosed will be 0. So in that case you can expect that MMF acting along that particular path will be 0. This is in accordance with Ampere's circuital law, which states that MMF acting along a closed path is equal to current enclosed by that closed path. So let us take this thing as our path number. Let's say if you say this is our path number 6. So you see in this path number 6, what do you find? That there are 2 cross current and 2 dot current. So they cancel each other. So you see the MMF is 0 along this particular path. So you see the MMF is 0 at the pole center. Okay. Now, so in the same way, what you do, you go on applying Ampere's circuital law. That means you go on choosing a closed path, and that closed path will go on enclosing more and more number of conductors. And what you have to look out only, you have to only look out that what is the net current enclosed, whether the net current enclosed is negative, positive or 0. Of course, in this particular example, we have taken cross current to be positive and dot current to be negative. So you go by that convention, you will find that the MMF variation for the compensating winding, the MMF variation for the compensating winding is like this. Now, this kind of waveform is a step waveform, or it is also known as staircase waveform. So this step waveform or staircase waveform is actually approximated by some linear variation. Now, what is the logic for approximating this for this linear variation? The logic is that this slot pitch, the width of this slot pitch, the slot pitch is what? Slot pitch means distance taken over one slot pitch. One slot pitch means one tooth and one slot. So this distance is known as one slot pitch. Okay, this distance is known as one slot pitch. So this is known as one slot pitch. So in this slot pitch, what happens? For an actual machine, the width of this slot pitch is very small. So if the width of this slot pitch, that is distance over one tooth and one slot, you see half tooth portion, half of the tooth portion is taken from this slot number 3, another half of the tooth portion, let me rectify myself, half of the slot portion for slot number 3 is taken, another half of the slot portion is taken from slot number 2. So half slot portion from slot number 2, half slot portion from slot number 3, and this is my tooth. So one tooth and one slot is the distance which is comprising of one slot pitch. So one slot pitch comprises of distance taken over one tooth and one slot. From here we are taking half slot, from here we are taking half slot. So this thing is very narrow. So if this thing is very narrow, this can be approximated by a linear rise, which I am indicating here by a blue color. So this is indicated by a linear rise. Here it is actually flat. Again this thing is represented by a linear line. Again here it is flat. Again it is represented by a linear line. Okay. So this is the MMF variation along the space, or this is the MMF variation along the air gap periphery for compensating winding. That's why you see here CW stands for compensating winding. CW stands for compensating winding. So this is the MMF variation along the air gap periphery for compensating winding. The approach which we have taken up here, the same approach can be applied for armature core also. What you have to do in case of armature core also, you go on taking closed path. This is my one closed path, this is my another closed path. So in this closed path there is only one conductor, but in this closed path there are two conductors. So MMF will rise. Again the change in MMF is indicated at the middle of the slot or the center of the slot. So whatever variation of MMF is indicated here, the variation of MMF is indicated at the middle or the center of the slot. And what we are doing, we are just applying Ampere's circuital law. That means in this particular path, let us zoom it here, in this particular path only one conductor is here. In this particular path there are two conductors, so MMF should rise. Let's say if the conductor is say here Z, let's say it's your NA, or let us use another term, let's use Z. So if Z is the number of conductors in this slot, so what is the current carried? Current carried by each conductor is IA by A. Current carried by each conductor is IA by A. So IA by A into Z will be this thing. IA by A into Z will be this thing. In this particular path, there are two conductors, so it will be 2Z into IA by A. So this will be 2Z into IA by A. This will be, if you choose another path such that slot number 1, 2, 3 are enclosed, so it will be 3Z IA by A. So in that way you can find, this can be termed as 3Z into IA by A. Again this is your 2Z IA by A. Okay. So here we will find that the MMF variation is actually not trapezoidal for armature winding, it is actually triangular. This thing we have derived earlier also in our earlier classes. Here it is again repeated. We will find that the MMF variation is triangular. MMF variation is triangular for armature conductors. Let me indicate it here. So what can be done again? Again we can apply the same approximation here. We can apply the same approximation, that the slot pitch is very narrow, or the width of the slot pitch is narrow, so this thing will be very narrow, so you can approximate it by a triangular waveform like this, smooth. So this should be familiar. Okay, let me what should I tell is that while plotting the MMF variation for armature current, the same convention has been adopted, that is dot current is taken as negative and cross current is taken as positive. So we need to keep that thing in mind. That is very important, that in a particular example, if you have assumed something to be positive, for example in this case we have taken cross current to be positive and dot current to be negative, so it has to be followed in both the cases when we are plotting the MMF variation due to compensating winding current, as well as it has to be followed when we are finding the MMF variation due to armature current. So if you look at the armature MMF waveform, you will find that it is in agreement with our earlier result, that armature MMF is 0 at the pole center. This green dotted line is the pole center. So you see armature MMF is 0 at the pole center. Obviously armature MMF will have its peak along the interpolar axis. So there is a negative peak along this interpolar axis and there is a positive peak along this interpolar axis. So this is the MMF variation for armature current. Now what you can notice is that for compensating winding MMF, the MMF is rising above this horizontal line. That means it is increasing in positive direction. Whereas for armature MMF, it is increasing in the negative direction. So if you take the sum of FCW, that is MMF due to compensating winding and MMF due to armature current, you will find that the MMF of these two are individually not zero. That has to be kept in mind. That means if you take the armature MMF as a single thing, as individually armature MMF is not zero, individually compensating winding MMF is also not zero. What we are saying is that when we take the combination or the combined effect or the sum of compensating winding MMF and armature MMF, in that case the net MMF will be zero. So if you look at this diagram, let us look at this particular diagram. Let us zoom it here. See, I am taking this path. So in this particular path, what is the net current enclosed? In this particular path, what is the net current enclosed? 2 cross current and 2 dot current. So 2 dot current and 2 cross current, so they cancel each other. So net MMF is 0. Again you can look at this particular path. In this particular path, what is the net current? Cross and dot. So here also the net current enclosed is 0. If you take this particular path, in this particular path also you see dot cross current, they cancel each other. So what we say, that the net MMF acting along this line, if you take into account both the MMF due to compensating winding and MMF due to armature winding, they cancel each other. But individually, that means if you take only armature MMF or if you take only compensating winding MMF, individually they are not zero. What we are saying, the sum, the combined effect or the sum of these two MMF is 0. You can see it here. Okay. Now you see, although the combined effect is 0, but leakage flux can exist. For example, in this particular case, you see here, you can have a armature, you can have a flux due to compensating winding like this, and at the same time you can have a flux due to armature current like this. Let me draw it. With another thing. Let me draw it. This one. So you see here, in this particular case, so if you choose this path, you see dot means what? It is leaving, so the arrow will be here. So it is like this, and here cross means what? It is entering. So you see here, for cross it is like this. So what do you find? That along the air gap periphery they can exist, but as far as the pole face is there, they cannot enter the pole face, because the net MMF acting along this path, you can look at here, the net MMF acting along this path the net MMF acting along this path is 0. So the leakage flux can exist but not otherwise. Leakage flux means what? Which is linking only the compensating winding or which is linking only the armature current. So the flux which is linking only the armature conductors is armature leakage flux, and the flux which is linking only the compensating winding is your compensating winding leakage flux. But however, we should keep in mind that leakage flux over here, they don't play that much of predominant role because of the simple reason that leakage flux are due to the current carried by compensating winding and armature winding. Now these current, they are not changing with time, so the leakage flux are also not changing with time, so they don't induce any EMF and they are not that much significant as compared to the case of AC machine. In AC machines, what happens? In AC machine also there are leakage fluxes, but the leakage fluxes in AC machine, they are time varying because the current itself is time varying in AC machine, and leakage flux are created due to current, so that's why they create a problem in AC machine. But in this case, maybe they don't create any problem in the steady state condition. Obviously during transient condition they can create problem, but during steady state condition they hardly will have any that much of influence because these leakage flux are due to current carried by armature conductor and compensating winding conductor, and these conductor are carrying armature current, and these armature current, they don't change if the load is not changing, or if it is working in steady state condition, the armature current will not vary, so they don't vary in the strength, the leakage flux don't vary in the strength, so they don't affect that much. However, this point I believe has been cleared that if you take up this closed path, you see 2 cross 2 dot, they cancel. Even if you take this path, 1 cross 1 dot, they cancel. Even if you take this closed path, 1 cross 1 dot, they cancel. So this is the variation of compensating winding MMF and armature MMF. Now what you can figure out, that in this particular half, that is, this is the half of the pole face of south pole. So in this half of the south pole face, you see compensating winding is positive, armature winding MMF is negative, so they cancel each other. What about this north pole face? This north pole face, what do you find? That the compensating winding MMF is changing in this manner, whereas armature MMF under this north pole face, this green line is the armature MMF, so armature MMF under this pole face, it is changing in opposite manner. It is decreasing from positive to 0, it is increasing from negative peak to 0. So here also you see that the MMF are getting cancelled. Okay, so this was the topic of discussion, that we wanted to find the nature of variation of MMF along the air gap periphery due to compensating winding conductors, and besides that we have also once more derived the nature of MMF variation due to the armature winding current, that is FA. So this green triangular waveform is your armature MMF. Let me write it. So this is your armature MMF, that is magnetomotive force due to armature winding current, and this trapezoidal shape is your MMF due to compensating winding. So this is the compensating winding MMF. This is your compensating winding MMF. Okay, so this is your compensating winding MMF. Now one more point I would like to tell, then I will leave it for this, is that you will find that due to this compensating winding MMF, the armature MMF is being cancelled under the pole faces. Further, this MMF due to the interpoles, they are also going to cancel the armature MMF along the interpoles. You see, if you let me draw one MMF variation due to the interpoles. For this north pole only I am going to draw. Okay, so let's slide this to be FCP. CP stands for commutating poles. FCP stands for commutating pole. This is my FA, that is armature MMF. Now what you do, you apply the same rule. What kind of rule? That you choose a closed path like this. So this is my closed path. So in this closed path, current is being enclosed. Now you choose another closed path, same current is enclosed. Now you choose another closed path, same current is enclosed, isn't it? So for this interpole winding, the MMF variation will be like this. Let me draw it. For interpole winding, MMF variation will be like this. It will be like this. Now, why it will be like this? Let's see here. In this particular example, what we have assumed, in this particular example, we have assumed that cross current is positive. So if I take path number 1, what is the current enclosed? 2 cross current. If I take path number 2 like this one, what is the current enclosed? 2 cross current. If I take path number 3, what is the current enclosed? Same cross current, 2 cross current. So that's why the line is parallel. But if you take this path, say path number 4, so if you take this path number 4, what is the net current enclosed? 2 cross current and 2 dot current. They cancel, because in this particular example cross current is taken as positive and dot current is taken as negative. So if you consider path number 4, so in path number 4, what do you see? In path number 4, what do you see? 2 cross current and 2 dot current. They cancel each other. So MMF acting along this line, 0. What about path number 3? Path number 3 is like this. So it is enclosing 2 cross current. So there is MMF. The same thing can be applied for south pole. Obviously for south pole, you will first enclose which current? You will first enclose dot current. So dot current is negative. So in this south pole case, you will find a MMF which is having a negative polarity like this, which is not indicated here due to lack of space, but it will have a negative polarity. So this is the MMF. This is the MMF due to interpole. Okay, interpole. So this is the MMF due to interpole. So this MMF due to interpole will cancel the armature MMF along the polar axis only. That is in the commutation zone only. We can see it here that FCP stands for MMF of the commutating pole. CP means commutating pole, that is interpole. So what you do, you have drawn the variation of MMF for this interpole. So what you have done, you have chosen this path number 1. So in path number 1, 2 cross current. In path number 2, again only 2 cross current. Path number 3, 2 cross current. But in path number 4, 2 cross current and 2 dot current. So that's why we are having MMF variation like this. That in this portion there is no variation in the current enclosed, and over here there is a variation, 2 cross current and 2 dot current. So net current is 0. So the net MMF is 0. Okay. So now you see that this is the more or less the MMF variation for compensating winding, interpoles or the commutating poles, and armature MMF. What is not indicated here? The MMF due to the field poles. The MMF due to the field poles, or rather you can say the main field pole. The MMF due to the main field pole is not indicated in this diagram. Okay, due to this lack of space, but we have already derived that MMF due to the main pole or the main field poles. Okay, thank you.